What do you see in this picture? An old couple? Or a musician? Or do you see something else? I'm sure everybody in this room saw various things. And in the same way, everyone constantly sees things in a different way in this world. And that all has to do with perception. But perception isn't just limited to tangible or concrete things, like this painting. It can also be abstract, or the way our minds work even. Like the theory of how women's and men's brains work differently. While a woman would see various colors and a broad spectrum of colors, a man would only see a few shades of colors. Or another example would be how an adult and a child see the world completely different. While a child sees a very imaginative world, an adult sees a more practical world because of their experience. And so in this way, depending on your experiences and your personality, your age and gender, our perception of the world is constantly changing and varies among person to person. But despite being in a world so vast, we constantly limit our perception. And that all has to do with our busy lives. I mean, think about it. I want you all to close your eyes. What did you see today? What did you see this week? What did you see this month? Apart from maybe a vacation, I'm sure you all saw the same things over and over again. You know, the same home that you go to, the same family members, the same neighborhood, the same route that you take to school and work, and the same home that you come back to again. And so, over a long period of time, we're constantly used to this small world of ours. And because of this, we have a limited perception of the world. But if you think about it, the world is so much more than what we see on a daily basis. There's so many things going on. And it's been developing in so many ways. We've evolved over the years in multiple ways. I mean, we've had new transportation, we've had new inventions and technologies, we even have new fashion trends. And thinking back to where we all started, where the days we had little small cottage homes that were vulnerable to the harsh weather conditions, where we had to travel long distances by walk, where we had to do everything by hard labor because the only things we had were the materials that we found outside, the resources. We didn't have simple inventions like the microwave or the stove or the washing machine. We had to do everything by hand. So now, if you think about it, the world has evolved in so many ways, and all for the better and for our convenience. Isn't that true? Well, that's only one perception of it. Again, this also has another side. Did you think about the negatives to this? Well, we have new and efficient transportation, but that also means we're burning so many fossil fuels. We also have new fashion trends, but that also means we're hurting animals because many designers want to have an authentic look to their styles. So even in something as small as fashion trends, we're hurting animals to get their real skins and furs. And when we're expanding cities and making new technologies, or when we have new factories opening up, think about all the pollution, and think about all the damage that we're doing to ecosystems and wildlife in order to have all this. So, while we only see the good sides to this because of our self-centered perspective, while we only think about what's beneficial to us, we constantly don't see or we overlook all of these other negative effects of the same thing. And I want to ask you a question though. Even after telling you all of this, I want you to think. How many of us really care? How many of us really care about what we're doing to the environment or the wildlife? How many of us care that there's currently 16,306 endangered species? And how many of us care that all of this is because of our carelessness and our damage to their natural habitats? I mean, as harsh as it sounds, it's the truth, isn't it? What we really care about is our home, our family, our career, and our money. And right now, we have a happy life. So we don't really think about all this. We don't think about what happens to the environment, and we don't really care about it. Well, you should. And after hearing what I have to say, you will agree. If you agree to the list of what I said about you caring about your family, you will care. Our population started with 1 billion people 200 years ago. And that number went up to 3 billion people 50 years ago. And currently, in 2018, we have a population of over 7 billion people. But that's not all. By 2050, that number is set to double. So we're going to have over 14 billion people on this planet. Well, 14 billion people is a good thing, right? That means a growing population. We're developing as humans, we're evolving. But again, that's only one perspective. There's also another side to this. We humans come to this planet relying on 4 key resources: water, air, heat, and earth. And without any of these things, we can't survive. And while right now, we have an abundant supply of all of these things, with a growing population, we're going to be running out. We use water a lot on a daily basis for a lot of things, especially when we're drinking water and the water that we use at home. But what we don't really think about is all the water that we use indirectly, about the water that we use in food production. Did you know that it takes 9,000 liters of water to produce 1 chicken? And the US alone, last year, has consumed 1 billion chickens. So that means overall 9 trillion liters of water just going into the production of chicken for the United States in 1 year. And not only chickens, but we also consume a lot of things, right? Whether it be milk, coffee, chips, bread, a ton of other things. But even things as small as chocolate bars, we still use a lot of water for. It takes 2,700 liters of water to make a single chocolate bar. And if you multiply that by the billions of chocolate bars that are being sold, that are in stores, and the high demand for chocolate nowadays, that's a lot of water. So if we keep using water like this, we have enough water right now, but we won't in the future. Using water for our need is good, but we use water excessively. We use water at homes, and we don't conserve it. And because of this, we're slowly going to start running out. I mean, the United States might think that because we have the Great Lakes, we could never run out of water. Even the Great Lakes wouldn't be enough for a growing population like this if we don't take care of the water that we use. Not only water, but there's also a high demand for land right now. I mean, think about it. If there's a growing population, you need more room to stay, and you need more materials and resources in order to build those homes. But where are we going to get this land from? Currently, on this planet, there's only 17% of the world that's been untouched. Meaning that every other part of this planet, every other part of this world, has been used in some sort of way, whether it be for resources or for construction or building more communities. So, if we only have 17% left, where are we getting all this land? Well, we're doing it through deforestation. We're cutting off trees just so that we have more room on this planet. And we're also cutting off trees in order to make these homes, for construction, because we need wood to make these buildings. But do you think about what happens because of deforestation? Well, I'm not just talking about what happens to wildlife or what happens to their habitats. I'm talking about what happens to us. Another key thing that we need in order to survive is air. We need oxygen to breathe. And what gives us this oxygen? Well, it's trees. Every single time we breathe in air, we release carbon dioxide. And what circulates this carbon dioxide to oxygen are trees. So, if we have a growing population that's rapidly growing, and we have trees that are being constantly cut down, there's an imbalance. More carbon dioxide in the air and less fresh air for us to breathe. So if we keep going, not only are we destroying ecosystems, but we're also risking our future. If we don't have oxygen to breathe, how are we going to live on this planet? Did you think of it that way? But another thing, not just carbon dioxide, a lot of other things, like greenhouse gases, are going into the atmosphere as well. because now we have new industries and we have new efficient transportation, we're burning fossil fuels and we're using other gases and releasing toxins into the atmosphere. And in this process, we're filling up the atmosphere, which is causing global warming. And I mean, you've all heard of global warming, and you know what's happening to this environment, but we don't really see the effects right now. But did you know that the average limit to the atmospheric temperature was set to 2°C? And this was set there because anything crossing that limit could mean catastrophic events, including droughts, floods, rising sea levels, melting ice caps, and so many more things. And that's why that limit was put there. But now, instead of being careful of crossing that limit, we're pushing that limit higher and higher. We're pushing it to 4°C and even 6°C because of the excess agriculture and the industries and factories that we're building. So if just 2°C could cause so many different things, did you think about what 6°C could do? Did you think about where our future is headed? In order to visualize this, I've even made a picture. In this picture, as you can see, there are two generations, an adult and a son. And while the adult sees a beautiful landscape, the original beauty of this planet, the son only sees a landfill and all the pollution in the air. And that's because that's where the future is headed right now. That's how the future is going to look like for the next generations. And that's because we're putting at risk all of our key resources. I told you, air, water, heat, and land. And if you look back, we are putting at risk the supply of all of these things. And like quicksand in an hourglass, our resources are slipping away. We won't have abundant source of these anymore, unless we do something about it. And remember what I said? We all care about our families and career and life. And we're selfish in that way. We don't think about the environment or about the wildlife. But we do care about our families, right? Don't we care about what happens to our future generations? Don't we care about the existence of mankind? And in order to stop this, we all have to make a difference. And we have to do this by changing the way we live in this planet. As a whole, we have to make an effort. And one of the things that we can do is changing and reorganizing communities. Meaning that instead of making things so far away that we have to use cars and transportation all the time, we have to reorganize the communities in a way that we can travel by walk or by bike. And in fact, when building new homes for the growing population, we should reuse materials. I mean, look at these homes. Doesn't it look like the ideal home that you would want to live in? And it is. And it looks probably just like your homes right now. But these are made with reused materials, repurposed wood. But it doesn't really make a difference, does it? So why is it that we constantly use fresh cut wood and new materials in order to build these houses? Why can't we repurpose materials? Why can't we rebuild the existing homes in order to make better ones? In that way, we can conserve materials while still having the convenience and luxury on a daily basis. But these are all big things that we have to do as a whole. We don't have to always make big contributions. As individuals, we can all make small differences for the better cause. One of those things is conservation of water. At home, we use water all the time, don't we? But do we really think about how much water we're using? How many of us leave the tap on while brushing our teeth? Instead, why shouldn't we just turn that water off? How many of us have leaking pipes, leaking faucets, or leaking toilets? If we repaired them, that way you'd have a lower water bill at the end of the year, and we're also conserving water. So just don't do it for the environment, do it for yourselves too. And at home, we turn on the lights all the time and forget to turn them off when leaving the room. Instead, you should turn these lights off. And in fact, what's better is if you replace these with compact floors and light bulbs. So that's more energy efficient. And again, we can protect our money and bills by having energy efficient light bulbs, but at the same time help the environment. And even when going around the neighborhood, we constantly try to drive there. But why? Why can't you just take a walk or ride a bicycle? That way, it's healthier for you. You have good exercise. And by doing all of these things, well, they may seem minor. We have a 7 billion population, remember? And soon it's going to jump to 14 billion people. So if we each contribute a little bit, overall, that's going to make such a big difference. We all are just pieces of the puzzle, and together we can make a beautiful picture together. So the fate of the world is in our hands. So if you don't do it for the environment, do it for you. Do it for your family, and do it for the future of mankind itself. Join the effort to ensure the unsure of the future. Thank you.